Tourists can have a distinctive look, and my suggestion would be that if you're traveling to another culture, you might want to try and blend in a little bit. So today we're going to talk about how Europeans dress like, and I am a European, and I definitely want to add a little bit of commentary because I've seen some content around on social media claiming how Europeans dress, and I want to actually debunk a few myths in this video. But first we need to address, why is it so important to blend in? Can't we all just dress however we want? And to some degree, of course, you can be yourself, you can have your style personality, and you can have your unique sense of dressing if you want. But it is important to always take other cultures into account. But there's also a big advantage to blending in and not standing out like a sore thumb. Because first of all, if everybody sees that you are a tourist, you're not local, you might have to pay higher prices in shops. People might take advantage of you. So there are many benefits to why you should try to look a little bit more like the locals do. So how does one look like a tourist? Well, I would say there are two primary categories. The first one is that the typical tourists tend to dress very sporty. And especially when Americans are visiting Europe, they love their running shoes, they love their leggings, they love their sports shorts, they love their t-shirts, they love their tank tops. And although I must tell you that Europeans wear this too, because right now in the whole entire world we have this kind of what I call the pandemic of athleisure, where basically everybody thinks that the whole world is a sports center. But tourists tend to love the sporty look. They love dressing comfortably. And I understand, because if you are a tourist, you're going to be sightseeing all day long, you want to be able to walk, to feel comfortable and at ease. I am not against comfort, but one can look good, dress well, and adhere to dress codes and respect cultures while still be comfortable. Let me give you a few things that typically tourists tend to wear. Flip-flops, running shoes, backpacks, baseball caps, t-shirts, leggings, sports shorts, jeans, hot pants, crop tops, dad sandal with socks.
Check this out, huh? Oh, yeah. That's the stuff.
So basically, if you don't want to look like a tourist, you do not wear any of those things. But I'm going to give you some pointers on what you should be wearing instead. So if you're traveling to Europe, make sure you pack comfortable shoes. Although, of course, we go by car everywhere here too, but we are not as much of a car riding culture as other countries are, meaning that we actually walk a lot here. And our cities tend to be quite walkable, especially with all the beautiful European architecture that you really see in most cities. For this reason, we run our errands oftentimes on foot. In Italy, we would go for an evening passeggiata with an ice cream. So yes, you're going to be walking mostly. Make sure you pack shoes that you can walk in all day. I have actually made a video on this subject that you can watch after this video. My suggestion would be that let's say you want to wear running shoes, replace the running shoes with a nice pair of attractive sneakers instead. Or if you're tempted to pull out that dad sandal, maybe another type of sandal would look better in this occasion. Classy footwear is definitely a must for your Europe trip. Another thing that is typical for Europeans is the choice of color that you're wearing. So Europeans dress a lot depending on season, because in Europe we have 4 seasons. So if you come in fall and winter, you can definitely wear more fall type of colors. Versus if you come spring, summer, you wear more pastels and lighter colors. But overall, I would say Europeans are very much into neutrals and very much into less is more type of mentality. Certainly a little bit of pop of color is normal to see here and there, but we're not necessarily the most colorful and flamboyant type of culture. One thing to pay attention to is that Europeans can be seen as a little bit conservative at times. Generally speaking, we are not so much into showing a lot of skin. And think about it this way. If you come to Europe as a tourist, you're going to do a lot of sightseeing and you might enter a lot of churches. And there we have a strict rule of always covering up your shoulders and wear something knee length for women, as otherwise it's quite disrespectful. I guess what I'm trying to say is that maybe the crop top and the jeans hot pants is not the best combo when you come and visit Europe. Something else that we tend to wear a lot, especially women, we tend to wear a lot of dresses and skirts. I know that American female fashion can be a little bit more masculine, but in Europe it's actually quite feminine, but also quite classic. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe because here I do give a European approach to my content. Europe tends to be a little bit more classic and elegant. So if you love that type of style, then you are going to love Europe. As I am a certified image and color consultant, I wanted to simplify styling to those who might find that it's quite difficult or not fully understand it. So I have created a program where I have simplified everything that I know about fashion and styling, just the way I learned it at Image Consulting School, where I teach you ladies everything in such a simplified manner so that you always know what to wear and how to always look your best. Now go to elegantstylist.me to find out how you can always look your best. But to go back to the question, how could you still be elegant while being comfortable? Because that's the whole point. You want to be comfortable while you're touristing. I would personally advise you ladies to invest in comfortable dresses and skirts. I think that they're the most flexible because they will not be sitting tightly somewhere, meaning that you don't have to use the leggings, you don't have to use the t-shirts. Surely if you really want to wear trousers, maybe you can have a bit of wider trousers, maybe a nice pair of palazzo trousers. I think the main point to think about is, what is it that makes clothes comfortable? And I would personally say it's always about the right size. Make sure that your clothes are not too small. Second of all, the fabric of the material and how it handles the weather conditions that you're in. If you are in winter and fall, make sure that it warms you or protects you for the weather if it's cold or raining or something like that. Or if it's spring summer, make sure that the clothes can breathe, that you're not being overheated in your outfit. And then lastly, it's about the fit and the construction. I just feel like there are so many different types of clothing and shapes that you don't have to be restricted just to that cargo pant or that legging or that short. There's so much more variety than just that. And if you subscribe to this channel, you will find out how you can look more classy and stylish with little effort actually. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Now in my next video, I'm gonna give you ideas of comfortable shoes that you can actually wear and go sightseeing all day long and still be comfortable. Hop on over to that video because I will see you there.